Hi everyone, welcome to our channel where we help your real estate investments work harder for you. I'm Samantha from Elevate Realty in Toronto. If you live in Toronto, there's probably a handful of topics that you've been hearing a lot about lately. COVID updates, what's happening with back to school plans, and the Toronto real estate market. What's interesting about the Toronto real estate market is that we're seeing a divergence between freeholds and condos. On one hand, you hear that freehold sales are going bananas, like COVID's never happened, and on the other hand, you hear that condos are getting hit hard and it's turning into a buyer's market. So in this video, let's talk about this. What is causing this divergence? Are freeholds really overheated? Are condos really going to plop? What's going to happen moving forward? If you want to hear more about this, let's get started. A market is driven by simple economics. If there's more supply than demand, then it becomes a buyer's market. If there's more demand, then it's a seller's market. So a key metric that we use in real estate is to look at the sales to listings ratio, which is calculated by dividing the total sales by the total listings over a given period of time. A ratio of over 50% indicates a seller's market, and a ratio of under 50% indicates a buyer's market. Let's look at what's happened with freeholds so far. Last year in July 2019, we saw the sales to listings ratio at 59%. This year in July 2020, the ratio is more or less the same at 61%, signaling a consistent, steady seller's market. Semis followed a similar story. It was a strong seller's market at 78% last July and continues to be strong this year at 80%. So on the freehold side, the trend really hasn't changed much since last year. It's a seller's market and holding steady compared to last year. Now let's look at condos. Last year, condos saw a seller's market with sales to listings at 67% in July, but this year the tables have turned. Now we're only seeing a 42% sales to listings ratio, so what you hear on the news is true. Condos are becoming a buyer's market. But what this ratio doesn't tell you is what is driving this market. Is it because buyers have decreased, or is it because sellers have increased? To understand what is happening, you can't just look at the year-on-year July data because regular seasonality isn't the same this year. In normal years, spring is the hottest, but because of COVID, the markets were frozen and sales simply didn't happen. So now as Toronto opens up, both buyers and sellers are playing catch up, making for lost time starting June. On top of this, a lot more people are staying in town this year compared to normal years, when people are normally going away for summer vacation. So sales activity in the summer has also gone up because of this. Instead of just looking at July, I think it's more accurate to compare the April to July 2019 numbers with the same period this year to see how COVID really has affected activity so far. So detached sales and listings are actually still much lower than the same period last year. We saw 32% less sales and 36% less listings. Semis are lower priced and easier to get into, so we're seeing slightly more activity here, but still much lower than last year, with sales down 29% and listings down 28%. So as you can see, people are still very reserved and cautious because of COVID, and the freehold market isn't actually as bananas as the news reports it to be. Let's see what's happened with condos. Condo sales are 35% less year on year from April to July, and honestly, it's not too far off from the freehold sales trend. What's interesting is condo buyers are still around. So you probably guessed it, the condo buyer's market is because of a hike in inventory, and we saw listings go up by 5%. So let's think about it now. There are more condo sellers in the market this year from April to July compared to the same period last year, despite all these barriers from COVID, and everything else has been down 30%. Now, your first question is probably, what is causing this spike in condo supply? So one part of this comes from condo owners who are occupying the unit. Because of the work from home situation, they don't need to be close to downtown, and a lot of them want more space. So with all-time low interest rates right now, this makes monthly costs of owning a home much more affordable, so we're seeing some condo owners move to houses. But the biggest drive of this inventory really comes from condo investors. A lot of condo investors were barely cash flow positive before the pandemic, and things were fine because condo prices were appreciating quickly, so this made up for lower cash flows. But now with higher vacancies in condos combined with lower rents, A lot of these condo investors are dipping into the negative cash flow territory. So now they're trying to cash out, take profit, and hopefully move into better cash flow in real estate, the freeholds. So if you want to learn more details about what's happening to the rental market, you got to check out my other video right here where I talk about just this. And I'll put a link in the description below as well so you know where to go. This leads to your other question probably, why aren't condo prices dropping that much then? The thing is, even though condo investors want to cash out, they have holding power. Rates are low and mortgage deferrals are available, so they're not in a desperate need to sell right now. Now, mortgage deferrals are coming to an end in October-ish, and immigration probably won't be bouncing back by then. So I anticipate more condo weakness in the coming months and a prolonged condo buyer's market. And here's our prediction for freeholds. Before COVID, freeholds in Toronto were seeing really great cash flows. And it's true that rents have dropped, but with all-time low interest rates and the fact that freeholds haven't really been affected by vacancies, the cash flows are still more or less the same in freeholds. So when you combine this fact with the fact that freeholds are still playing catch-up with the sales and listings, like I mentioned before, we anticipate freeholds to remain strong in the coming months. Now, anything can happen. A second wave with schools reopening in September or something else totally unpredictable. So nobody really knows for sure how things will pan out in the short term. The reason we're so confident in the freehold market is because we believe Toronto is strong as a long-term investment. And this is also why investors are entering the freehold market right now. As long as you have holding power with strong cash flows, you can ride through the short-term volatilities while getting double-digit annual returns, which outperforms many investments in the long run. We specialize in freehold investment properties in Toronto, so if you're looking for the best cash-flowing properties in Toronto, let's connect. You can head down to the description below to find out how to contact us. And finally, if you like this video, please like it, share it, and subscribe. It means the world to us, and it lets us know that we should make more weekly real estate investing videos just like this one. I wish you all the best in your real estate investing journey. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.